There's a world beyond our shores where giants roam.
Wow! Just amazing to see.
Whales the size of buses, thousand-strong pods of dolphins, and large predatory sharks all call the British Isles home.
We've got 30 different species of sharks in our waters, including some real megastars. We've got hammerheads, we've got blue sharks, we've got threshers, we've got makos, and they're out there every single summer.
Our mission is to meet these elusive creatures. We're planning an extraordinary expedition.
We've got 2 blue sharks circling. Beautiful. Wow.
Using the biggest natural shark bait on Earth, we're going in search of giants.
Have you ever seen it like this before here? In British waters?
No.
Wow!
My journey to meet Britain's giants begins on a drizzly Friday in August. My home for the next week, the Severn Sea, is waiting for me just off the tiny village of Clovelly in North Devon. And we're about to undertake a very unusual operation.
I think I have to pinch myself to believe that this is actually happening now. And I'm finally heading out to join the Severn Sea, who's towing our whale. Can you believe that?
Behind the boat, a 9-metre humpback is floating, stabilised by buoyancy bags.
And here she is. Wow. 7 tons. Beautiful whale.
Found drowned in fishing lines, she was destined for landfill.
But I suppose, in a sort of beautiful poetry, we're returning her to the ocean. That's how I see this whole extraordinary operation, is that she would have washed up on a beach. Goodness knows what would have happened to her. And we are now taking her out to the ocean to a watery grave. She is going to become the largest ocean snack and sustain other life.
Called a whale fall, it's one of the ocean's biggest events, and it's never been studied in British waters before.
How are you?
Pleased to meet you.
Hey, Richard, good to see you again. How are you?
I'm met by Richard Pearce and Nick Higgs, our shark and whale fall experts.
I can't believe we're here. This is happening.
It is.
There she is.
Absolutely, yeah.
Slightly tragic, but exciting.
Oh, yeah.
Knock, knock.
Skipper Anthony Glover is in charge of the operation.
I'm very excited about this. Are you hopeful we're going to see some marine life with our tow?
I hope so, yeah.
What's the outlook?
Well, it's a bit shaky today. We've got a better forecast tomorrow, so we're hoping to get out later on tonight.
While we head out with the whale from the north coast of Devon, Ellie is 60 miles to the north, exploring the Pembrokeshire coast, looking for wildlife. Our plan is to meet in a place called the Celtic Deep in 24 hours' time. It's an area of deep water where every summer the warm Gulf Stream collides with the coastal waters of the Celtic and Irish seas. And right now, it's fueling a feast of minute plant-like algae and animals, which in turn draws in massive shoals of fish like mackerel and herring, and some of our more unusual visitors. The basking shark has been seen here during the summer months. Growing up to 11 metres, these plankton-feeding giants feed only on tiny creatures like shrimps. They can filter more than 6,000 litres of water every hour. And sharks like threshers, with a tail half the length of their body, and the mako, the fastest shark in the ocean, have also been seen here. It's these rare and known scavengers that we're hoping to attract with our whale.
How unique is this, what we're doing?
I've been dreaming about it forever, and it's probably never going to happen to me again, so I'm just keeping everything crossed for when we get out there tomorrow and she starts to do her work.
Off the Welsh coast, Ellie, on a converted trawler, the Lady Kate, is experiencing very different conditions.
Ah, bloody hell.
Yesterday, She swam with grey seals in calm seas.
Woohoo!
But today, everything's changed.
Hello, Ellie, it's Ben here.
Hi, Ben, how's it going?
Yeah, not too bad. Well, how's it going with you?
It's choppy. They said it would be lumpy, and that's exactly what it is. Everybody's a little bit sick.
Well, Ellie, it's terrible here. Terrible, big mountainous seas everywhere, freezing cold, pouring rain. No, I have to be honest with you, it's dead calm. The sun is threatening to come out, and we're threatening to have a gin and tonic, to be quite honest.
How dare you? That's outrageous.
Our thoughts are that we're going to hide behind Lundy, and then probably around midnight we're going to head out to join you guys, hopefully, in the AM.
With the plan confirmed, we slip our mooring and head west. Our extraordinary journey to the Celtic Deep begins. Shark expert Richard Pearce takes up position at the stern of the boat. We might be thinking about the weather, but he's thinking about sharks. As we leave the shelter of the cliffs, we start to enter the open ocean. It's been one of the worst summers on record. We've chosen what's meant to be a relatively calm window between two lows, but the seas are still big. Three hours later, we approach the tiny island of Lundy, which lies 12 miles to the north of Devon.
South or southwesterly winds, force 4 or 5, occasionally 6 at first, becoming variable, force 3 or 4.
The winds are beginning to ease, but like generations of seafarers before us, we take shelter behind Lundy's cliffs until it's safe to head out to the Celtic Deep. Lundy became our very first marine conservation zone in 2010. Teeming with life, it's meant to be a great place to see one of our commonest sharks, the small spotted cat shark. Porbeagles, which often get confused with great whites, can be found here too. They have a distinct pointed nose and a squat body. But even these hunters, which can grow up to 2.5 meters, might not be the biggest sharks out here.
Okay, so here's the big mystery, Richard. Look at us. Look behind us. Yeah. We've got seals everywhere. I mean, I've counted more than 20 around here. Perfect snacks for great white sharks.
Perfect water temperature.
Where are they?
Not here. I really wish they were. I'm sure we get the occasional visitor rocking by, but the big mystery is why don't we have a resident population like they have in South Africa, Australia, California, where conditions are very, very, very similar. We've got seals, we've got water temperature, we've got everything. I'd really love to see one. It would really make my life if I saw a great white in British waters.
With our seal numbers doubling in the last 60 years, perhaps one day great white sharks will make British waters their home.
What's the closest we know a great white has come to British waters?
Less than 200 nautical miles. Nothing. A tiny walk in the park. These guys cover tens of thousands of miles.
For Richard, this operation is his best ever chance to find out if they're really here.
It's hard to believe that we're actually storm-bound here by Lundy. Look at these blue skies. The problem is the ocean is still really turbulent out there. So I'm taking the opportunity to explore this marine protected area and try and find out the link between this rich body of water and the Celtic Deep.
And if I get really lucky, I might meet a shark. Our first dive is on an outcrop of rocks called the Knoll Pins.
Wow, this much plankton. It's hard to see more than a few meters.
But the life here, protected by law, is breathtaking.
This is Britain's largest sea urchin. It's probably grazing on algae. Look at the wall. Beautiful.
And these are sunset-cut corals, so rare they're only found in a handful of places in the British Isles. And then we find our first shark. This strange-looking thing is an egg case or mermaid's purse. And it's got a baby shark growing inside. It belongs to a nursehound, one of our most common sharks. The adults can grow well over a metre. Within minutes, we find more of their egg cases attached to sea fans. The young shark will stay growing inside for over 9 months. My dream to come face to face with Britain's sharks is one step closer.
Look, there's a grey seal. I am loving this.
More than 120 gather here during the summer months, hunting for fish like mackerel. It's magical to see so much life thriving in this protected reserve. For our seas to prosper, we need more safe havens like this. Look after one bit of the ocean, and all the life around benefits.
This is a side of underwater Britain so few of us get to see.
Our second day dawns at sea. We're 50 miles from land and approaching the Celtic Deep with our whale. The wind has dropped and the ocean feels serene and special.
Slept very well actually, a little bit rocky last night. We set off at about 2:30 in the morning to get to our rendezvous, which is hopefully about now. So I'm hoping the whale is still attached and that somewhere out there is Lady Kate and Ellie. I'm really hoping for sharks. I did dream about them last night.
We're now drifting with the whale behind us, replicating exactly what happens to a whale when it dies at sea. One of the most important feeding events on Earth, it's never been studied in UK waters before. It's 6 a.m. Nick Higgs, our whalefall expert, and sharkman Richard Pearce are already on lookout, scanning the sea for life.
We've got the birds, we've just had a visit by some nice dolphins. Everything's really kicking off.
These are common dolphins, and extremely curious. More than 70,000 live in the southwest, and here in the Celtic Deep, they sometimes group together in their hundreds. As we drift further into the Celtic Deep, we start to see more and more wildlife.
Here we go. Wow! This is incredibly exciting. We've got minke whales, we've got dolphins. This is where the ocean starts to come alive.
The minke is our commonest whale and can grow up to 10 metres. But despite being found right around the UK, very little is known about their lives.
All around I can just see fins, dolphins, all leaping in the distance. This is why we've come out here. This is why we brought our whale this far.
Two hours later, Ellie arrives on board the Lady Kate.
There they are at last. It's a bit of a lumpy passage getting here. A lot of the crew are down on sleep. Not great, we're all sort of 5% under now. But we're here at last. I'm hoping the weather's going to start playing ball pretty soon.
Good morning, Lady Kate. Good morning, Lady Ellie. Hopefully you can hear me.
Morning,
You can tell that my nickname at school was Foghorn. Anyway,
Hopefully you haven't seen your breakfast again.
It's a bit choppy, but we'll be okay, I think. See you in a bit. Oh, yes. We're there.
Hey, welcome aboard, shipmate.
Good to see you.
How are you? How's everything out on Lady Kate?
It's all right.
Yeah?
It's good. Yeah, we've been following you guys for a little while.
Behind us, oil from the whale's blubber is already leaving a slick the current will carry for miles and miles. Sharks, with their incredible sense of smell, should find this irresistible. But 4 hours later, the only visitors are herring gulls.
You never know why you have or haven't got sharks, but I mean, we've got an awful lot of scent out there, so they should come and find us. What you're looking for, you see the seagulls now?
Yeah.
If they all hit the water and stay there, and then start to swivel their heads in panic, and then all lift up, then keep your eyes really peeled. Then you've probably got a shark that's just underneath.
I think I'm going to get in the water.
Lucky you.
Probably we'll try and liaise before I get in, because I don't want to scare your sharks away, obviously. That's the main thing.
I'll give you a heads up. Right.
Okay.
See you in a bit. Bagsy the first one, so Ben can do the one into the night.
Within minutes, the birds start to look agitated. Something is in the water.
Shark! Shark! There, just to the left.
Oh, yes.
See?
Yeah.
Right.
Here we go,
Come on,
blue
quick,
shark.
quick.
Well done. There we go.
With its vivid blue back, it can only be a blue shark. And at 1.5 meters, it's a young adult.
Here she comes. Come on, baby.
She's quite cautious, isn't she?
Then, a much larger blue, well over 2 meters, approaches the boat.
Wow, look at those gills on the side. Come, babe. Those pectoral fins are amazingly long. 2 blue sharks. One of them, the larger of the 2, came up and managed to get away with a rather large piece of blubber. Exciting, those are our first sharks.
Richard radios in the news to Ben and the dive team.
Well, we've got a shark. I can't see it at the moment. I first was aware of it because all the seagulls lifted off in panic. They're still not very happy about going down.
That is incredible news.
It's time for me to get in the water with one of the North Atlantic's top predators.
I hope it's that we haven't scared them off because we've seen them, we know they're here. Good sized shark too, good sized blue shark. Ben! Brilliant.
2.
Brilliant. 2 sharks.
I'm beyond excited. Slightly nerve-wracking going in when you see these very large sharks around. But I've been assured that this whale is far more tasty than me. I'd like to think the whale has more blubber on it than me.
It'd be really good to get someone under to have a look what's going on.
Missing the action. Come on, Ben.
Blue sharks have been responsible for 4 recorded fatalities. While attacks are extremely rare, we need to be careful.
Blue shark, blue shark.
Oh, here it comes. Just behind me now. It's incredible. I can practically touch them. They're just slowly moving around us. Extraordinary. We've got two circling us now.
This female is huge, at least 2.4 metres. She's got a really distinct mating scar on her back and could even be pregnant. Males bite and hang on when they mate.
It looks like they're taking it in turns to feed.
We're in their world, and with so much food around, they're at their most dangerous.
It's quite scary to be this close to blues feeding.
With every head shake, more than 50 razor-sharp teeth saw off mouthful after mouthful. 15 million calories of whale are slowly being recycled.
We never expected this. You can see their power. It's unreal. Wow.
Feeding over, they cruise around the whale, completely unfazed by our presence.
Quite scary, but something I'll never forget.
Summer visitors to our shores, blue sharks undertake one of the most epic journeys in the North Atlantic. Travelling from as far away as the east coast of North America, some ride the Gulf Stream east to feed in our rich waters. Where they give birth is a mystery.
We don't know an awful lot about their nursery grounds in the Atlantic. There's supposed to be a dedicated nursery in the central Atlantic, but the whole population sort of does a massive migratory swirl with lots of little sub-swirls, and they pop all over the place.
After an average journey of 1,700 miles, finding our whale must be like winning the lottery. Belly full, she may not feed again for several weeks. Already, our whale is breathing life back into the ocean.
That was amazing. That was just extraordinary. It's like another world down there. I mean, it's difficult to explain to you how utterly beautiful. I've never seen anything like that before. You can't get the cameraman out of the water because he doesn't want to leave.
To be in British waters and to see that behaviour. No, I've never seen it. No, I've never seen it.
Wow, I tell you, that was amazing.
Our third day at sea dawns with ominous steel grey skies. We're floating alongside a 9-metre humpback whale. Our plan, to find out what happens to these giants when they die at sea. The oily slick coming from the whale now extends for tens of miles. Last night, cameraman Mike Pitts tried to rig lights on the whale to see what was happening underwater. He counted more than 10 blue sharks, but before he could explore further, the sea conditions worsened and the operation was aborted.
It's very difficult to work with this, and there's so many sharks. Every time you've got your hand in the water.
This helmet cam recorded just how close they came.
There's one there right at the end, 7 to 8 foot. Just right hanging off the back of the boat.
It's now 7 a.m. and my turn to get in the water. We've got no idea how many sharks have come in overnight. We're 50 miles offshore in depths of 100 metres. I've never dived in conditions like this before.
I was really jealous of Ben last night, having gone in, and I really, really want to do it. It's one of these things where you just got to bite down your fear a little bit.
Final check's done. It's time to face my fears.
Wow! They're absolutely everywhere. There must be at least 50 here.
For safety, I've been told to hang on a line right next to the boat and stay well away from the whale. Mike and the safety diver Lloyd Jones are down at 6 metres where the larger sharks are circling.
I got a blue shark right on top of me.
It's another female around 2.7 metres. We're seeing some of the largest blue sharks ever filmed in British waters. Today, the sharks are eating every part of the whale. Blubber is one of the most energy-rich foods on the planet. Every kilo contains more than 7,000 calories.
There's blues circling all around the whale. And that. They look huge. It's an unnerving sight, let me tell you.
Ten minutes in, the mood changes. They start bumping us. Sharks often do this prior to an attack. It's how they assess what's food and what's not.
There's a big one over there.
Lloyd, pull up. I'm just being dumped.
Then, off camera, a shark bites Lloyd.
They're all coming out.
The dive is aborted.
You up first. Take the jacket, please. Okay.
It's quite stressful. Their behaviour's changed. They've become a bit aggressive and we don't want to take any chances, so we've all had to come up as quickly as possible.
You want us to get off on the other boat?
Yeah.
Please, Gav, call it in.
On the other boat, do you think Ellie got a bit of a fright with that?
I suspect she might have done. I suspect she might. Was it Ellie?
It wasn't Ellie, no. No, it was one of the support divers.
With everyone getting out of the water, Lloyd reveals what happened.
Came over the top of Mike's head, tried to nibble on the top of his cylinder. As I pushed it away with the lights, it spun round and bit me on the bum. So I could just feel it nibbling on the back of the dry suit there.
Is it broken the
I don't think it's broken it, but I could feel the teeth.
Oh,
so.
could you?
Yeah.
What a great story to tell.
So I think that's time for me to get out of the water then.
You're going to have an amazing bruise.
Ultimately, it's our fault because we're going into their habitat.
We're in their space, and what we're doing here is we're in their space, we're there feeding.
Yeah.
You know, they're not just swimming around.
All for us, but it's very exciting.
Of course, absolutely. Wouldn't miss it for the world. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So moving forward, would we be foolhardy to get back in as we were?
Yes, I think so.
So
and I wouldn't want the sharks to sort of get a bad reputation or a worse one than they've got by us giving them an excuse to. So yes, I would say from now on in the cage or use the ROV, the remotely operated vehicle.
3 hours later, shark numbers are soaring. With conditions now too dangerous for divers, the ROV is deployed.
Basically, it's like an unmanned submarine. You can see the lights on the front there. It's got cameras. We're going to send it down the side of the vessel, safer than having humans in the water right now. And hopefully we're going to have a good look at what's going on there.
First, we see small blues, around 1.5 meters, hanging around the periphery of the action.
Look at that.
Isn't that stunning?
They're young sharks. Then, as we reach the whale, the full scale of the gathering is revealed.
Wow! Amazing! Everywhere.
"24 hours after seeing our first blue, we have more sharks than we could ever imagine.
God, absolutely breathtaking.
Have you ever seen it like this before here, in British waters?
No.
We estimate there's now well over 100 sharks here. And looking down into the depths, there's blues stacked on top of each other, all the way down to at least 30 meters. We're witness to a major feeding event, one of nature's great spectacles, and happening here in UK waters.
And look at that, they're going into the mouth, you can see them feeding.
Fabulous.
From the air, everywhere you look are sharks, all racing in on the scent trail. How far they've come, nobody knows. By late afternoon, we estimate there's at least 150 sharks.
You came to say hello, Richard.
Most are female. Why there are so few males is a mystery. But very few seem to make the big clockwise migration around the Atlantic.
Do you think among all these sharks that we're seeing now, there's some sort of hierarchy going on? Are they dominant?
I mean, the sort of perceived wisdom is that size matters and they always give away to the larger ones, but I've often seen the little ones charging in completely fearlessly, so I'm not sure. I mean, I think there's so much of an opportunity here, they don't really need to be very competitive.
Soon, these sharks will head south, riding the currents once again. Crossing the Atlantic, some will then go north to mate. But not all will make it.
So for these beautiful sharks, what's their main threat right now?
Us.
Us.
Estimates of, I've read various estimates of we're taking between 10 and 20 million a year.
10 and 20 million of these? What
So,
for?
Fins mostly, but also the flesh is beginning to be increasingly valued.
And there's markets in the world.
And the fins, obviously, the markets, China and the Far East.
Sounds dire.
As the feast continues, I go in search of the other creatures that come to these waters.
The visibility looks incredible. We're miles from anywhere and floating over 100 meters of depth. And I'm quite relieved to know that at least 100 of the local population of blue sharks are over there.
Just drifting with the current. It's like I'm floating in space and watching the world pass me by. Look, there's a huge jellyfish. See how long its tentacles are? They're like fishing lines feeding on all this super plankton.
These tiny creatures are the building blocks that feed ever larger creatures here in the Celtic Deep. Without them, this water would be a wasteland. All around the UK, plankton blooms are nurturing new life. In fact, there's so much food here in the summer, you can see it from space. And it's drawing in a host of other giants. Off the southwest coast of England, thousands of barrel jellyfish gather in record-breaking numbers for the feast. Britain's largest jellyfish, they can grow up to a massive 1 metre in diameter. And wherever there's jellyfish, critically endangered leatherback turtles can follow. A 1.8 metre giant is spotted off Dorset, with more rare sightings stretching from South Devon to the west coast of Scotland. Some have come all the way from their nesting grounds in the Caribbean to feed here. But the biggest surprise of all is to see our huge gathering of visiting blue sharks.
Back on the Severn Sea, the feeding continues.
Thank you very much, that's amazing.
Richard back in his favourite position watching the sharks, while Nick, our whale fall expert, mans the ROV.
I've never seen anything like this. No, you know, this is a real treat for me.
Is this going to change science? Is this going to change your knowledge of what happens out there?
Yeah, well, certainly. I would have never predicted that you would have had this many sharks eating this much of the whale at the surface. You know, if you would have asked me 6 months ago what's going to happen to this whale, I would have said, well, you might get a few nibbles here and there, but most of that whale will end up on the seabed. And what we're seeing here is a huge proportion of it just being taken away by these sharks.
It's day 4, and our mission to meet Britain's sharks is entering its final stage.
We've travelled 10 miles overnight and we've still got an awful lot of sharks around their carcass. The fins are significantly bigger from what I can see.
We'd wanted to float with our whale for at least a week, in the hope of seeing the different exotic sharks that we know visit our waters. But our time has been cut short.
Land's End, this is David Head. There are strong wind warnings in force.
A storm is on its way. We're 50 miles offshore, and soon it won't be safe to stay out here.
You look on the horizon, there's that front they promised us. So we're working against the clock as well, but it's all in an effort to get our whale to her final resting place.
We're about to see what happens to a whale fall on the seabed for the first time in British waters. The floats are replaced with ballast to help sink her.
Wind's freshening steadily the whole time, so we're on a bit of a schedule. Yeah.
The whale's position on the seabed needs to be exact, so Nick can continue to monitor her in the years ahead.
I would like to find out what's down on the seabed there. That's one of the deepest parts of our continental shelf.
Whether we get any other sharks when that thing goes down to the bottom is going to be really interesting. I'm sure the blue sharks will follow it down, but whether or not we're going to get makos or threshers or something else coming with a dynamic change will be really interesting.
400 metres to sight.
Well, this is it. She is just about to go down. And it seems quite important to mark this moment because with her we've learned a huge amount about the life here in the Celtic Kingdom. We may learn even more about life on the seabed. She once swam the great expanses of the Atlantic Ocean, but this is the end of her journey.
Okay, she's on her way.
As our great humpback starts her final dive, the blue sharks stay with her. They follow her slow journey down. As she passes through 35 meters, the temperature plummets, and gradually the light is extinguished from her world.
And there she is.
Whale fall occurs at 86 metres. Her final resting place, the Celtic Deep. Only the larger blues seem to follow her all the way down. But then, after just a few minutes, they leave. Temperatures down here are just 10 degrees Celsius. It's too cold for the blues.
These sharks are not going to stay very long at low temperatures because they're going to get their temperature back up again.
Over 4 days at the surface, we estimate she's fed at least 200 mouths. Some 15% has been eaten, and over 2 million calories has given new life to the sharks. Now it's the turn of the creatures living on the seabed.
It does look like a bit of a desert down there.
Yes, it does, absolutely. Yeah, but we've changed that. You know, we've put a big food source down there. Everyone's going to find it. I just need to know who everyone is, really.
Yeah.
The first visitor is an edible crab. A haddock takes shelter from the current. And a brittle star inches its way towards the feast.
Oh yeah, and he's feeding on that.
Look at that.
Beautiful.
I've got an image that he's just said to the missus, I'm just popping out for a pint of milk. He's like, whoa, hey! He's going to come back waddling in with a massive belly. I think he can sense us looking at him.
He spotted us, hasn't he?
He's like, hey, I don't like anyone watching me eat. I'm a bit like that, to be quite honest. I mean, this is going to sustain creatures like this for a very, very long time.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Nick leaves a time-lapse camera on the seabed. It will take a photo every hour for the next 6 months. We hope to see some of Britain's rare deep-sea sharks.
You might get 6 kills. That's a pretty good possibility, yeah.
These ancient sharks can grow over 4 meters long and have been pulled up in fishermen's nets in this area. But for now, it's time to leave. The Celtic Deep was everything we hoped it would be. And for our whale, the cycle of life is being fulfilled. Nothing wasted, everything gained.
I've had such an adventure, and like all great adventures, it's been full of surprises. Who knew that just off our shores were hundreds upon hundreds of top predators? The blue shark.
It's clear the waters around the British Isles are incredibly important for visiting blue sharks. But unprotected, and with millions taken worldwide every year, we can only wonder how much longer we'll see sights like this. For Nick, his work is just beginning. He'll return to the whale for years to come. He's shown how important whale falls are to life at the surface. Now it's time to find out what happens in the deep.
And I suppose what's incredible now is that she's going to keep on giving. Science is going to continue to learn from her for years to come. This is an expedition I will never forget.
Summer draws to a close. It's been an amazing year for our giant visitors. Prehistoric-looking sunfish have been spotted from Scotland to the tip of Cornwall. A swordfish was filmed by a survey vessel. And even the biggest creature on Earth, the blue whale, has been seen in our waters. Soon they will all head south as the journeys of our extraordinary ocean visitors continue.